Shalom, it's Kanai from GMS Gary, Indiana. First, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kakwadash. All right. Double honors to our elders in GMS who rule well. Peace and blessings to those of you teaching throughout the four corners of the earth in truth and sincerity for the love of the gospel. Shalom. All right, we're going to start here in Proverbs 14, verse 6. All right, it says, "A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not." But knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth. All right. A scorner is a person that hates the thought of something. All right, a scorner is a person basically he only attends to the things that he likes, and the things that he doesn't like he hates. He hates the things that he doesn't like, In a sense, that could be said for, almost anyone, but you can never learn that way. All right, it says, "A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not. But knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth." All right, let's go over to there it is. I'll start from the top. It says, Proverbs 18, "Through desire a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom." That's how a wise man operates, man. No matter if he likes it or not. That's the only way to the truth, man. You got to go through some things that you may not want to accept at first. All right, but if it's true, ultimately you have to accept it. He says he intermeddleth with all wisdom. So he searches out things. He seeks to find the truth, man. Verse 2, it says, "A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself." See? All right, so a fool doesn't want to understand, basically. He just wants to do the things, his own things, man. He wants to go his own way. All right. Let's go to Proverbs 15, verse 12. All right, Proverbs 15:12, it says, "A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise." All right. So when somebody's trying to reprove him and tell him the right way, you know what I'm saying? When somebody's trying to teach him the correct way and the right way to go, he hates that man, you know? A scorner hates the man that's telling him the truth. They hate the men that tell them the right way. It says, neither will he go unto the wise. All right? I mean, how could you be wise unless you surround yourself around wise men? You know? You surround yourself with fools, you'll be like unto them. You'll be a fool yourself. You know? And you know that's what scorners do, man. They keep the company of fools. You know? Let's go to Isaiah 8. All right, verse 20. It says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. You know? All right? If you're not speaking what the Bible says, you know what I'm saying? You don't have the truth, man. You know, you don't have the knowledge of the Lord, man. All right? Yeah, you don't have wisdom, man. All right? If they speak not of the words of the Lord and of the Bible and what the Bible says, the truth is not in them, man. They have no light. All right? Hey, these people are in darkness, man. All right, let me read on. It says, and they shall pass through it, hardly be stead and hungry. And when it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God and look upward. And they shall look unto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness and anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. You know? Hey, because when the Lord punishes them, man, hey, for their unbelief, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, these people, they shall die in their unfaithfulness, man. You know? Hey, troubling times are going to come upon them, man, and they're going to realize the error of their ways, man. All right? All right, let's go to... You know what? All right, oh yeah, this is 1 Corinthians 3 verse 18. It says, let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. You know? For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High, for it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. You know? Alright, verse 18, it says, Let no man deceive himself. If any man seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. Alright, so you're not supposed to always be right, you know? Like a scoffer wants to do, you know? A scoffer always wants to be right. You know, that's a foolish way to live life, man. Hey, because no one is always right. All right, so the ones that call themselves so wise in this world, man, they are really the fools of this world, man. It says, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. All right. Hey, so sometimes you have to realize when you're wrong, man. All right, that's that let him become a fool, man. You got to know when you're wrong, man. It says, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. So, you know, the only way you can know the truth, you know what I'm saying, is when you realize the error. When you realize what's wrong, then you can work towards the truth. You know? All right? So once you become a fool in certain things, then you can get the understanding to become wise in those things. You see? Hey, because you're eliminating the things that are wrong, man. You're crossing out the things that are wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you'll ultimately, when you cross out all the things that are wrong, you know what I'm saying, you're only left with the truth, the things that are right. All right, verse 19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. All right, because, you know, the foolish in this world, you know what I'm saying, they think that they will not be punished. They think that what they're doing is going to help them out, man. But in the long run, you know what I'm saying, is going to be to their demise. You know? And again, it says, verse 20, it says, and again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. All right, so the ones that call themselves so wise, if they're so wise, why they got vain thoughts? You know, because they're really fools. At the end of the day, a person that never wants to admit when he's wrong is a fool. All right? No? Let's go here to Proverbs 26 and verse 12. It says, seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope of a fool than of him. See? Hey, you know, when you're conceited, you don't want to admit when you're wrong, man. Hey, you see all the flaws, you want to point out all the flaws in everybody else, but pointing out the flaws in yourself, you do not. You don't do it. They don't do it. There is no hope. It says there is more hope. Salaki, there is more hope of a fool than of him. All right, because he will never admit that he's foolish, man. All right, and the more hope of a fool than of him. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if I'm wrong, man, hey, I'll admit that I'm wrong. I'll admit I'm a fool, man. Why? So that I can walk in wisdom, man. So I can correct myself and so that I can take the correction that's given to me from another, and I would use what they gave me to correct myself, man, and walk in wisdom. All right, let's go to Proverbs 24 this time. And verse 7. Proverbs 24, verse 7. It says, wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth his mouth, not his mouth, in the gate. All right, wisdom is too high for a fool. He openeth his not his mouth in the gate. Hey, when it comes to the service of the Lord, man, you know what I'm saying? He's not going to question. He's not going to have questions about how to be righteous, man. If he does come around, he's just going to scoff and act like he's trying to teach you something, man. Wisdom is too high for a fool, man. It's beyond his it's beyond his scope of view, man. They have a very low take on life, man. And just wisdom just passes right over their head, man. Right. Bear with me, I got another one here. All right. All right, this is Proverbs 17, verse 16. It says, wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom? All right, seeing he hath no heart to it. All right, so there's not any price that a fool would pay to get wisdom, man. If he had 25 cents, which anyone could afford, if he had 25 cents to get wisdom, he would not get it. Because he's constantly rejecting the truth, man. He doesn't believe in the truth. He doesn't want the truth. All right? Seeing he hath no heart to it. He has no mind for it, man. All right? Getting the truth is not in his thoughts. His mind is geared towards, evil, man. All right? Geared towards folly. Geared towards vanity. All right? There's no they will not receive understanding, man, because they're constantly rejecting it, man. And they're going to miss out, on the wisdom of the Lord and the kingdom of heaven. All because they rejected the knowledge of the Lord, man. Hey, the Lord had his hand open unto them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but they smack the Lord's hands away, man. Say, I don't need that. You know? And that's not a a good thing to do, man. All right, because it's gonna lead to your own destruction, man. Hey, you denied the Lord, man. And there's no forgiveness for that. You know? Hope this was an edifying lesson. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakar Kwadash, Shalom.